Ever wondered how a massive organization like India's Public Service keeps things in order? Well, there's a playbook for that. Today we're going to crack open this government rulebook and see exactly how it works.
So what actually happens when a government employee steps out of line? It's not just some random process. A very specific step-by-step procedure kicks in, and it's all laid out in this really important document from way back in 1965. You can think of it as the official roadmap for any disciplinary action.
All right, so to really get a handle on this, we've got to start at the very beginning. Let's break down what these rules actually are, and maybe even more importantly, who has to follow them.
Okay, here's the official name. The Central Civil Services Classification, Control, and Appeal Rules, or just the CCA rules for short. They've been around since 1965, and their main job is pretty straightforward, to make sure that when someone's in trouble, the process is structured, consistent, and, this is the big one, fair.
So who exactly does this rulebook cover? Well, think of it like a giant umbrella. Its reach is huge. We're talking about pretty much every single person holding a civil post under the central government. And get this, it even covers civilian employees working inside the defense services. But, it's just as crucial to know who isn't under this umbrella. There are some big exceptions. For instance, if you work for the railways or you're a member of the All India Services, you've got your own completely separate set of rules. Okay, so let's say a serious allegation pops up. What's the very first thing that happens? Well, the whole disciplinary process usually kicks off with one specific action: suspension.
Now, this is super important to get right. Suspension is not a punishment. Think of it more as pressing the pause button. It's a temporary, precautionary step that's only taken when things are pretty serious, like, a formal investigation is about to start, or if there's a criminal case in the works.
And here's where it gets really interesting. There's this thing called deemed suspension. This isn't something a boss decides. It's an automatic trigger. If an employee is detained in custody for more than 48 hours, boom, they are automatically considered suspended. No questions asked.
But you can't just leave someone hanging, right? The rules have a built-in safety net for that. A suspension can't just go on forever. It's only good for 90 days. After that, a special committee has to formally review the whole situation and decide if it needs to be extended. It's a crucial check and balance.
Okay, so suspension is in place. What's next? If the powers that be decide the allegations are serious enough to move forward, then we dive into the most detailed, most structured part of this whole thing, the formal disciplinary inquiry.
And when I say methodical, I mean it. This isn't a free-for-all. It follows a very strict step-by-step recipe. You've got the drafting of specific charges, listing out all the evidence, delivering it to the employee, getting their defense, all leading up to an official inquiry and a final report. Every single step is laid out to make sure it's done right. And at the heart of all this is a really important idea: fairness. The employee isn't just a passive subject here. They have fundamental rights. The right to be heard, the right to see every piece of paper being used against them, and they can even get help from another government employee to present their side of the story.
So, the inquiry wraps up, the report is submitted, and now it's decision time. The disciplinary authority has to make a call. And the possible outcomes are split into two very distinct buckets: minor penalties and major penalties.
Yeah, the rules draw a really sharp line between these two. On one side, you have the minor stuff, things like a formal warning, or maybe they'll hold back a promotion or a pay raise. These are kind of like a course correction. But on the other side, well, that's the major stuff. We're talking compulsory retirement, or even being removed or dismissed from service. These are the ones that are absolutely career-ending.
It's also really interesting that the rules spell out what isn't a penalty. So, for example, let's say your case is considered for a promotion and you don't get it. That might sting for sure, but it's not considered a formal disciplinary penalty. It's just a regular administrative decision.
But hold on, the story doesn't necessarily end with the verdict. Just because a decision has been made, it's not always the final word. The system has these built-in pathways for an employee to fight back, to challenge the order. It's a really important part of the whole checks and balances system.
And what can you appeal? A whole lot, actually. You can appeal the initial suspension order itself. You can obviously appeal any of the penalties, big or small. You can even appeal orders that mess with your pay, your pension, or other conditions of your service. It's pretty comprehensive.
But if you're gonna appeal, you have to be quick about it. The timeline is super strict. From the moment that order lands in your hands, the clock starts ticking. You have exactly 45 days to submit your appeal.
Miss that window, and you're out of luck. It is a hard, non-negotiable deadline.
And even after all that, there are two final, ultimate safety nets. First, there's something called revision. This is where a higher-up authority can just decide, on their own, to pull the case file and take another look, even if no one appealed. And then there's the ultimate level, review. This is where the President of India can get involved, but only if some brand new, game-changing piece of evidence comes to light that could completely change the outcome.
So there you have it. This system, born in 1965, has been the backbone of government accountability in India for over half a century. And it really makes you think, right? In our super fast-paced modern world, is this detailed, methodical process a timeless blueprint for delivering justice? Or is it maybe a bit of a bureaucratic relic? What do you think?